Shut up and sit down.
What's the story, internet? Hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Hope everyone has enjoyed a day full of football and full of shock results. And with that, we have some breaking news. Shakhtar Donetsk 2, Real Madrid 0. That means that the 13-time champions are on the verge of crashing out of the Champions League. Now, it's not for certain because the way that the group is lining up is bonkers leading into the last day. Mönchengladbach are at the top on 8. Shakhtar Donetsk are on 7. Real Madrid are on 7. And Inter Milan are on 5. It's madness. It really is. Because that means that Mönchengladbach and Shakhtar might not get in. It means that Real Madrid and Inter Milan might not get in. It's absolutely crazy. Fair play to Shakhtar. They played incredibly well. Real Madrid had the possession, had the shots on target and everything like that. But at the end of the day, the only statistic that matters is the goals. And Shakhtar had 2 of them. And Real Madrid had 0. So, yeah, fair play to Shakhtar. What a performance, and what a mixed bag of of fixtures they're having in the Champions League, because they beat Real Madrid twice, but then they lost cumulatively 9-0 to Mönchengladbach. Absolute madness. On to the next one, Salzburg versus Lokomotiv Moscow. Salzburg 3, Lokomotiv 1 in Moscow. It means that both of those teams are still alive. It would depend on what happened with Atletico Madrid. But yeah, it keeps their hopes alive, basically. So going into the last day, Lokomotiv, Atletico and Salzburg all have the opportunity. Salzburg dominated the match, really. Moscow had the possession by 2 percentage points, but Salzburg, 19 shots, 6 on target. Not very clinical, but still they scored 3 goals, so fair play to them. The very deserved win in the end. On to the next one, going back to the last group. What group is this? Group B. Mönchengladbach 2, Inter Milan 3. Mönchengladbach getting a late equaliser disallowed through VAR for being offside. So a very even match. Mönchengladbach had the possession, Inter Milan had the shots. But yeah, after Matteo Darmian scored in the 17th minute, Inter were sailing smooth, and then Alassane Player scored just before half-time to make them uncomfortable, and then a Lukaku double, and then Player scoring shortly after his 3rd goal set up for a very tense last 15 minutes. So fair play to both teams, put in a lot of effort. As I mentioned earlier, this makes Group B so interesting going into next week's fixtures. So Marseille 2, Olympiacos 1. Both of these teams are pretty much out fighting for the Europa League spot, but Marseille managed to get a win thanks to 2 Dimitri Payet penalties. It's a name for all you West Ham fans out there. Seems like it wasn't the most exciting game, but at the same time, fair play to Marseille. Sets up a very interesting tie for next week when each of them play Porto and Manchester City. It also means that Manchester City and Porto were through to the next round. That was almost confirmed anyway, but yeah, we'll just see who gets into the Europa League spot. Atletico Madrid 1, Bayern Munich 1. So going back to the Salzburg Lokomotiv group, Atletico Madrid were very, very convincing. 13 shots, but only 3 on target. They could have been more clinical. They could have given the German champions something to worry about. But thanks to a late Thomas Muller penalty, it means that Bayern Munich sail through to the next round with no problems. Atletico Madrid don't have too much to worry about, but they are on 6 points. Salzburg are on 4 and Lokomotiv are on 3. So sets up for quite a tense time next week. We will have to see what happens. it could be anyone's for second, third and fourth, but Bayern sail through with no problems and probably had their eye on other things since they were basically through to the next round. So next one, Liverpool 1, Ajax 0, thanks to Curtis Jones of all people, academy player I'm assuming. Poor old Ajax, they're just having a tough time of it at the moment. But the next result, bit of a shocker, sets up a very interesting battle for second and third. But this means that Liverpool do go through. They are into the knockout stages, so they'll be happy with that. And did want to mention their young goalkeeper. I can't pronounce his first name. What was his last name? Let me find the lineup. Oh, I'm in the Bayern Munich one. That's why I can't find it. I was wondering why I couldn't find the Liverpool goalkeeper. Kelleher. I think his name's like Kieran or something like that. No, it's Xiaomin. Irish name, I'm assuming. Yeah, Irish. But he made a great save in the closing stages of the match to save Liverpool all 3 points there. So could have set up for an even more interesting match next week if Ajax had equalised. Speaking of equal, Atalanta 1, Midtjylland 1. Yeah, great performance from the poor little minnows, but they pulled through. Means that they don't go home without anything. They do get the solitary point, but they also can't make it into the Europa League, unfortunately. So it's a battle between Atalanta and Ajax, who's going to be in that Europa League spot. So should set up for a very, very tasty match. I believe they actually play each other next week, which means it's going to be very interesting. Yes, Atalanta versus Ajax next week. So everything to play for, really. And then the last match, a bit of a bore draw, 0-0 in Portugal. Manchester City had 18 shots and 6 on target and still couldn't score. Porto had 2 and 1, and that seems like it's one of those FIFA statistics where that one shot was going to go in, but it didn't quite make it. So, as I mentioned earlier when talking about the Marseille Olympiacos match, that means that City and Porto do go through onto the knockout stages. So now it's just a battle of who goes to the Europa League. So that is the review for today. I will be back with you tomorrow morning for a preview of tomorrow's matches, including my very own Manchester United. So in the meantime, I hope you're all keeping safe, staying out of trouble. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, ta-ra for now.